Hi, I'm Stephen Horne, and this is the second in my Expand Your Mind series. I actually recorded the first video a year ago and didn't get around to actually working on the series until now, so this is my second video. And I want today to talk about the problem of education, because what you were taught in school about learning is completely wrong. And to prove it, I want you to think about your education, junior high, high school, if you went to college, or any post-high school education that you had. Other than something that you learned that you directly went into and used in a career, like maybe you studied law and are now a lawyer, or something of that nature, can you think of any class that you took that you could today recall what you learned in that class, apply it, and if necessary, explain it to somebody else? Probably not, because public school results in very little long-term learning transfer. Long-term learning transfer is the ability to learn something and then remember it years, decades later, and actually be able to use it and teach it to somebody else. So, if public education results in very little long-term learning transfer, this means that most of what you learned in school didn't stick in your brain very well, did it? And it didn't actually produce very much practical use for you, did it? This is why I love the line from Paul Simon's song Kodachrome, where he says, "When I look back on all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I can think at all." Because that's exactly how I felt. In fact, when I was in 8th grade, I made a decision, and probably one of the most important decisions I made in my life, which is not to let public school, interfere with my education. Because I enjoyed learning, and it seemed like in 8th grade they wanted to make learning a pain for me. I got hauled into the counselor's office with my parents by a history teacher and English teacher. The history teacher, because she gave these really hard tests, and one day I studied really, really hard for this test, and I went and filled out all the essay questions really, really well, and I thought I did fabulous on answering her very difficult questions. I wrote a little A in the corner of my paper, just a teeny little A in the corner of my paper. I got hauled into the office over that, and I got hauled into the office for my English teacher because I embellished assignments and didn't follow precisely the instructions that were given. But I loved to write, and I loved to be creative, and so I was getting punished for being creative. So that's why I made that decision. And so I've never been a big fan of public education. I'm not a big fan of public education because it really isn't education. And if you want to really develop your mind, expand your understanding of things, you've got to forget a lot of what you learned in school, and most importantly, you've got to relearn how to learn. Because there is one class that I took in college, my final semester in college, that I can today teach you all of the major things I learned in that class from all 3 instructors who taught that class. And I can use all the information in that class and put it into practice. And that was over 40 years ago. How is that possible? Well, it's possible because we used a model of learning that actually works. And I became familiar with this model as an assistant to a professor in the instructional science department. I had planned, after graduating from college with my BA in communications, I decided to major in speech because I wanted to just get the quickest communications degree I could, because I really wanted to major in instructional science and get a master's degree. My wife was tired of me going to school and said no, and blah, 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 so we wound up, even though the VA would have paid for me to get a master's degree, stopping school and going into other things, which all worked out probably for the best because I got into natural healing and all the other things I got into. But I apprenticed with this person, and they were working on this model of education called the 3-person problem. They called it a 3-person problem. I call it a 3-person solution. It was developed by Walter Gong of San Jose State University. This model has been incredibly effective at helping me to learn all kinds of things and retain them forever. And it's also been great at helping me be a really good teacher. And yet, it's not available anywhere. I've searched for it. There was one little teeny book his daughter wrote on it that's kind of technical and isn't really very practical. I know Stephen R. Covey has mentioned it in some of his works, but it all but disappeared. And I actually predicted when I was sitting in that class and one of the instructors was teaching that this model was not going anywhere, even though we had all the research that they were doing and all the things they were doing was proving that it helped solve classroom discipline problems. It helped students be interested in things. It resulted in this incredible retention of information and so forth. I knew it would never fly. And the reason it will never fly is because it destroyed the authoritarian structure of public education. So if you're prepared to unlearn what you learned in school and learn how to really learn, then continue watching this series of videos, because I plan to share with you the things I learned in that class and the things I learned also working as an undergraduate research assistant helping with the development of this model, because I think people need to have this information. And I think we need to make a reformation in our entire educational system based on knowing what actually works and what doesn't. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like this video and share it with other people. And I hope to catch you on future videos and share the secrets of being a master learner and teacher that allows you to maintain long-term learning transfer. Thanks for watching. We welcome your feedback. Please feel free to comment on the video below. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to click on the like button. That helps us get more viewers. For more information on holistic healing on many different levels, visit my website, stephenhorne.com. You can subscribe to my free newsletter, check out my courses, or join my member program to receive premium content.